Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. From the onset, I want to congratulate you for this wonderful bill. As the champion of members of County Assembly, the MCAs, I want to say this is one way we'll build the capacity and ability of MCAs who are the leaders of mashinani. Mr. Speaker, as I said before, when an issue occurs in a village, the first people that the ordinary wananchi run to are normally the MCAs. From issues of funeral bills, arambes, or issues of many challenges, people giving birth in hospitals and other over-glorified social work responsibility, Mr. Speaker. So I really want to thank you because the role of members of County Assembly, Mr. Speaker, is one of the role is very important because they play the primary oversight. Even in the County Public Accounts Committee where I sit, Mr. Speaker, we normally rely on the local knowledge of the area MCA to tell us on the projects and deliverable, Mr. Speaker. I think there are key issues that we have agreed that we need to deliver to members of County Assembly. One of them, Mr. Speaker, was to give them more development fund. Even in the NADCO report, Mr. Speaker, it was captured that we need to entrench one development fund, CDF, Senate Oversight Fund. That one we are yet to achieve. Number two, Mr. Speaker, was to look into their welfare, because most of the MCAs in the SRC secular, Mr. Speaker, they didn't consider MCAs in terms of ensuring that they have capacity, ability in terms of their welfare, from how they run their offices, including ward offices, including mileage allowances, Mr. Speaker, sitting allowances and plenary allowances, committee allowances, and even basic salary, Mr. Speaker, that they need to be rationalized by SRC. I'm happy that the SRC is being reconstituted and we have a new chairperson of SRC, Salaries and Remuneration Commission. This will be a big plus to members of County Assembly, Mr. Speaker. So the final one, Mr. Speaker, which you have led us today through your bill, Mr. Speaker, of course, you having been one of the senior most members of parliament in this house, Mr. Speaker, is this one of financial autonomy. I think if these three things can be achieved for the benefit of MCAs, Mr. Speaker, it will be very critical, Mr. Speaker, going into the future. I'm happy we need to treat MCAs with the respect and decorum and dignity to ensure their primary oversight is carried out, Mr. Speaker, without hindrance. Even, Mr. Speaker, I see even in social functions or in state function, in county functions, Mr. Speaker, sometimes we don't even give MCAs to address the gathering, and yet they are the leaders of mashinani who know the village level problems. And sometimes I feel sad when I go to public functions, church functions, state functions, county functions, the MCAs are being told, can you stand up and wave? Thank you for coming, Mr. Speaker. I think as leaders who interact daily with the people from the grassroots level, Mr. Speaker, they should be the one. Then you find people like PSS and permanent secretaries and cabinet secretaries are given an hour or so to speak on something even they are not aware, Mr. Speaker. Yet the MCAs could be. Mr. Speaker, even the Bible says, whoever my responsibility is given, much is expected. I want also to challenge the MCAs, just like the Meru MCAs, just like Kericho MCAs. Let them do their job without fear or contradiction or fearing governors or CCMs, Mr. Speaker. In as much as we want to ensure MCAs get financial autonomy, their welfare is looked into, Mr. Speaker. They are respected. They should also do their job, because that is the calling, Mr. Speaker, of the good book. For us who are Christians, that is what is demanded from them. So in as much as we are pushing for the capacity and ability of members of County Assembly across the nation, we also demand for them to do their job. Mr. Speaker, it's shocking when the governors appear before County Public Accounts Committee, where I sit as the vice chairperson, and even the local MCA does not have the local knowledge of the local project. Even their own budget, which they discuss and approve at the County Assembly level. So I want to challenge the MCAs and call out MCAs, Mr. Speaker. Whenever you go, some MCAs behave like they are PROs of governors. They behave as public relations officers of governors. They speak more to programs of governors and hero-worshipping governors and building governors into cult personality. Yet we are here working hard to ensure they give them capacity and ability, Mr. Speaker. So I want to call out MCAs that they should know their job also. As we push for their good welfare here in the floor of the House and in Parliament, Mr. Speaker, they should also behave and be the oversight I don't see the need. Why would an MCA be telling us about implementation of projects? Yet the CCM is sitting here, the chief officer is sitting here. Even I saw the governor of Narok was in development tour of Emurua constituency. But when you see there is nothing in a Murdigir constituency that the governor was going to launch. He was going to beat stories, Mr. Speaker. Did you see the convoy of Narok governor? Convoy that the president cannot have. It was trending, Mr. Speaker. How many cars? There were more cars, even almost 100 motor vehicles of high-end SUVs, Mr. Speaker. Yet, and the people who are hero worshipping and building cult personality, as the MCAs who are supposed to oversight. Mr. Speaker, it is very unfortunate. We must call out MCAs to do their job, Mr. Speaker, and ensure that they are performing, Mr. Speaker. Even in Nandi, for example, when COVID struck, the sitting governor decided to put a budget 115 million for mass grave. But that land does not exist. When you ask MCAs, they don't know where that land is, Mr. Speaker. When we told them to do their job, they decided to go and fight in the county assembly, Mr. Speaker, because of small monies and favors that are just chasing around. Mr. Speaker, I want to call upon the MCAs as we give them the financial autonomy. To whoever much is given, much is expected, Mr. Speaker. I have had colleagues say something, number 2, Mr. Speaker, because I only have 3 points. Article 219 is very clear. Money that is dispersed should be given to counties without undue delay. Counties are not beggars to the national treasury. They should not. And the CS in charge of national treasury, CS Mbadi, should be aware of Article 219, Mr. Speaker. When money is released to counties, it should be released without undue delay unless denied by Article 225 of the Constitution 2010, Mr. Speaker. So I want to call upon the CS. The last time we did censure the former CS Ukuri Yatani over delayed disbursement to counties, Mr. Speaker. I am happy in your proposal, Mr. Speaker, of your bill, the County Public Finance Bill, Amendment Bill to the Public Finance and Management Act. I am happy that the counties will have county assemblies fund, just like county revenue fund within the Central Bank of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. We are tired, Mr. Speaker. I was speaking in confidence to some of MCAs, and whenever I go to Nandi and other counties, you know, I ask MCAs, what are you doing? Why are you not doing your job of oversighting the government? They tell me, Mheshimiwa Senator, you know, if you are not loyal, you don't look nice before the governor, Mr. Speaker, they can deny developments to your ward and then come and hit you politically, and then you lose in future, Mr. I want to tell them, politicians think about the next election, but leaders think about the next generation, Mr. Speaker. So I want to challenge them, Mr. Speaker. We are tired of this begging, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can I repeat that? I think it is a demand, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, politicians think about the next election, but leaders think about the next generation, Mr. Speaker. And I think that should be... Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. That is why I want to challenge the MCAs to do their job wherever they are, Mr. Speaker. We are tired where MCAs have to do hero worshipping and cult personalities of governors so that the wards and development, it is not a favor for TUMECHOKA ward to get development simply because the MCA is hero worshipping the governor. It is the right of each and every ward, 30 wards of Nandi County and wards across the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. We are tired where the MCAs, the CCM of finance, behave like demigods before the MCAs, Mr. Speaker. We want them to have access to their own funds so that they can discuss their recurrent expenditure and legislative agenda, Mr. Speaker. So that they can do ad hoc committees, so that they have accountability committees within the county assemblies, can do their job without fear or favor against the executive of counties. And I want to challenge county assemblies. I heard my brother, Senator Wambua, Reverend, say that the county assembly and county executive are equal. And this issue of lack of financial autonomy, Mr. Speaker, and I thank your Solomonic wisdom, has been a challenge because this one has made MCAs look like they are subordinate to the county executive, Mr. Which is very unfortunate. They are equal power, Mr. Speaker. We want the structure here in Senate. Our accounting clerk is Clerk Nyegenye. When you go to the National Assembly, although he's the accounting clerk for the PSC, is Clerk Njoroge in the National Assembly. In fact, the other day I was asking, what is the need of parliamentary joint services? Yet every house has its own accounting clerk. The money that is shared to Parliament, let it share into half. The clerk of the Senate be in charge of accounting of the Senate. The other one in the National Assembly, the lower house, our sister house, although they are proposing a bill through jailer to scrap us, but we shall scrap them before they scrap us. Mr. Speaker, they should also hold their own accounting. Then these parliamentary joint services is an animal that the law does not recognize, Mr. Speaker. And that is why we normally complain for lack of facilities, Mr. Speaker, because of that animal up to today, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge that the model of running of accounting should be just like the Parliament of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. I am saying this, Mr. Speaker, with a heavy heart, knowing that the MCA of Shale Ward, Yusuf Hussein Ahmed, in Wajir County is still missing and unaccounted for, Mr. Speaker. You remember an MCA from Kakamega County was attacked and killed, Mr. Speaker. There was even a talk of assigning them an ability or even assigning them to bodyguard, Mr. Speaker, so that they are safe. You know, politics attracts a lot of enemies. For example, myself, Mr. Speaker, many people are looking for me. It is that God has been protecting me and be gracious, Mr. Speaker. But I want to challenge, in fact, the MCAs has been attacked on several occasions. We must also ensure that we give even the MCAs, Mr. Speaker, because, Mr. Speaker, if we are giving Nairobi or Nandi around 10 billion, and then the person who oversight the person who is in charge 10 billion is unprotected, the political goons will always be sent to the way of MCAs. And even as we remember the MCA that was killed in Kakamega, somebody is yet to be arrested. The MCA that is missing of Wajir in Shale Ward, if he had bodyguard, maybe things would have been different, Mr. Speaker. We have had even your MCAs, Mr. Speaker, during the impeachment of the impeached Governor Kawira Mwangaza, because she is impeached, although she is challenging her impeachment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, they had to sleep at the chambers. They had to lock themselves at Meru County Assembly because their security was not guaranteed, Mr. Speaker. Because even I'm told they were not accessing their salaries and allowances because the county, the executive were preventing them from accessing because they wanted them to drop the motion against the impeachment motion against the impeached governor, Mr. Speaker, because I think we know there is the impeached deputy president, there is now the impeached governor, Mr. Speaker. So I think that is what number 4, Mr. Speaker. On the issue of autonomy, I agree, but I don't agree, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of, there is the issue, just the third point, because I have only 4. The administrator of a county assembly shall obtain the written approval of the controller of budget. Mr. Speaker, I want to caution members of county assembly. We have seen, and yesterday we saw a county like Machakos, Mr. Speaker, and I'm happy the senator of Machakos is here. They were having close to 300 bank accounts, Mr. Speaker. 300 bank accounts. Yet when you go to controller budget, they want only few accounts, the CRF, to allow feasibility of COB. Because we are aware counties are doing the animal calling voiding payments, where the counties demand that they want to pay Ledama, but the money, when the money is released, they pay Senator Wambua, Mr. Speaker, just for purposes of illustration. I'm not saying they are being paid, just for purposes of illustration, Mr. Speaker. So that is how counties are perpetuating the issue of voiding of payments, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I agree with this provision that the issue of control of budget, before withdrawing money, they must be approved by control of budget, Mr. Speaker. And the county assembly should stop opening bank accounts. When we challenge governors who appear before us, and I'm happy the chair of devolution is here, they are looking in financial bank accounts. You saw like Bungoma had over 300 commercial bank accounts. In Nandi, they have over 500 commercial bank accounts. Apart from CRF, apart from special purpose account, and apart from the facility improvement accounts under the Facility Improvements Act, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, we want to caution county assemblies. As we give you financial autonomy, we want them to maintain one account of county assemblies fund within the Central Bank of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the fourth point, I will disagree, Mr. Speaker, because the proper maintenance of buildings, Mr. Speaker, I can see you have given functionality and utilization of fund. One of them is defray administrative expenses, which I agree. You know, Mr. Speaker, I see people, because now county assemblies appear before us for auditing as county public accounts. The business of county assemblies, last parliament, it is recurrent. How you gauge the functionality of a county assembly is committee meetings, plenary, tabling of reports, motions, bills, and any other oversight role that is allocated by the law. So, Mr. Speaker, I agree with you The only challenge, there are still counties that have not completed their county chambers, including my own county. Nandi County Assembly is yet to complete their chamber. We went to Isiolo, Mr. Speaker, that one is told, and a number of county assemblies I want to challenge. I think in Narok, I'm told the county executive is squatting on the land of the county assembly. So they need also to put their assets in order. We don't want the county executive of Narok to be squatting on the property of county assembly premises, Mr. Speaker. We need them to have a valuation role, to have full fixed asset that ensure the assets of county assembly are captured going into the future, Mr. Speaker.
Senator CHERARGEI, what is your point of order, Senator Zena?
Mr. Speaker, I was rising on a point of order for a long time. I've been waiting on the queue because I needed, I'm rising on Standing Order 105 on a statement of facts because Senator CHERARGEI has alleged that the governor of Narok was using public funds for the convoy that was seen the other day with several vehicles. Does he have facts that the vehicles were funded by public monies or they were private vehicles? So he needs to substantiate that fact. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I didn't even get what was the issue.
Senator CHERARGEI.
Mr. Speaker, so that I don't lose my Solomonic trail of thought, I'll request to substantiate tomorrow. So that I don't lose this serious meat. You know, those are diversionary tactics that are an essential for this matter that is before here. Mr. Speaker, finally, so that I allow my colleagues, so I agree largely with the financial autonomy. Let us give to county assemblies. I want to call upon MCAs, when you are given this financial autonomy, make sure you use it for the betterment of our running of county assemblies, do their oversight. Mr. Speaker, with those very many remarks to congratulate you and wish you well, and therefore support this bill with all, everything that I have, including my body organs, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is the Minority Whip, Senator Olekina Rendama.